The Moon has a radius of 1,080 miles, 1,737 kilometers. This means that the Moon's diameter is 2,159 miles, 3,475 kilometers, across. For comparison, the diameter of Earth is 7,918 miles, 12,742 kilometers. This shows that the Moon is approximately a quarter the width of Earth. The Moon's size impacts specific processes on Earth, the most notable of which is the tides. The Moon's gravitational pull causes the oceans to bulge on either side. As the planet rotates, these bulges also rotate, causing the rise and fall of seawater. Gravitational force is dictated by the size and distance of objects, so if the Moon were the size of Mars's moons, Phobos and Deimos, it would not have as strong of a gravitational pull and thus would not affect the tides. Compared to countries on Earth, it still might be hard to visualize just how large the Moon is when only comparing it to other celestial objects. Comparing the size of our Moon to countries and continents on Earth might show more context into its sheer size. The United States of America has a diameter of 2,897 miles, 4,662 kilometers, making it almost the same width as the Moon. However, having the diameter of the Moon only paints a part of the picture. To compare the Moon's size to the size of countries on Earth, the surface area is required. The Moon's surface area is 14.6 million square miles, 38 million square kilometers. When compared again to the United States of America, the Moon has approximately 4 times as much surface area. This is smaller than the continent of Asia, including Russia, which boasts a surface area of 17.2 million square miles, 44.6 million square kilometers. How far is the Moon from Earth? Besides the Sun, the Moon is perhaps the most recognizable object in the Earth's skies. To our eyes, it appears to be the same size as the Sun, and even during a solar eclipse, the Moon fits rather perfectly within the Sun's frame. Despite appearances, the Moon is far smaller than the Sun. The Moon only appears as large as it does due to the fact that it is located fairly close to the Earth. In fact, the Moon is so close to us that it is the only celestial object whose surface features are visible with the naked eye. Just how far away is the Moon? The distance to the Moon. It may seem like a simple question with a single answer, yet the number will be different depending on when you ask it. It may not seem like it, but the distance between the Earth and the Moon changes over the course of the Moon's orbit. That's because the Moon doesn't orbit the Earth in a perfect circle but rather in an elliptical manner. Think of it as slightly egg-shaped. The Moon has both a maximum and minimum distance from the Earth. During its furthest approach to the Earth, the Moon is about 251,000 miles away. During its closest approach, the Moon is around 226,000 miles away. Although the difference between these two numbers may not seem like much, it's a difference of about 4 Earths. How the distance between the Earth and Moon changes may not seem too important, but it actually has a profound impact on our world and how we see our nearest celestial neighbor. The distance to the Moon and its impact on Earth. The most significant impact the Moon's distance from us has on our world is its effect on ocean tides. If you have ever spent time near a shoreline, you have likely noticed how the size of the shoreline changes depending on the height of the water. How exactly does the ocean shift back and forth against the shoreline? As the distance between the Earth and the Moon changes, the strength of the Moon's gravitational pull on the Earth also changes. When the Moon is at its farthest distance from Earth, its gravitational pull is at its weakest. When the Moon is at its closest approach, its gravitational pull is at its strongest. Over the course of its orbit, the Moon tugs on the Earth, slightly pulling it back and forth. The Moon's gravity is what pushes and pulls the tides towards and away from the shoreline. Supermoons and solar eclipses. As one might expect, the size of the Moon will appear differently depending on how far away it is from the Earth. Supermoons are events that occur when a full moon is at its closest point to the Earth. Interestingly, a supermoon will appear 17% brighter and 30% larger than when a full moon is at its farthest approach. Another interesting event can occur if a solar eclipse happens to coincide with the moon's farthest approach. If the moon happens to pass in front of the sun while it's 251,000 miles away, it will not completely cover the sun. Rather, a ring of sunlight will form around the moon, creating what is called a ring of fire solar eclipse. Asking how far away the moon is from the Earth may seem like a simple question with a single answer, yet sometimes it is the simplest questions that end up having a profound impact on how we view the natural world around us.